Hey everyone, it's Daniela, and this video is coming up on a Saturday instead of a Thursday. Have a couple books that I thought I would talk about that I finished reading today, and I thought that would be it for my video. So a couple weeks ago I checked out a few books, and I started reading The Shining, but after going on vacation I put it down and didn't really pick it back up until a day or two ago, and I finally finished that today. And then the other book that I got at the library yesterday, it's actually a comic book. It's a Batman comic book that I saw, and I flipped through a couple pages, and I decided to check it out because I like Batman and I like comics. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about the two books. As far as The Shining, I really enjoyed that book. I've read a couple other Stephen King novels, and in general I like his writing. I like reading things that he's written. And as far as just the genre, I do like, I guess, books that are scarier or at least have more suspense. He tends to write books that are like in the horror genre, but his books still tend to have more like suspense, figuring out what's going to happen next. And if you don't really know about what happens in The Shining, obviously I'm not going to spoil anything, but basically one of the main characters is this guy named Jack Torrance, and he gets a job as the off-season caretaker at this remote hotel called the Overlook Hotel, and he and his family go stay there for the winter while nobody else is there, and they end up getting snowed in, and their 5-year-old son has sort of maybe psychic powers. He could like kind of sense people's thoughts, and then the hotel kind of has this creepy atmosphere to it, and I feel like at least most of the Stephen King books that I've read tend to have some kind of paranormal features to it, and I do enjoy like how he kind of builds his story. The characters usually feel like normal people. It feels like a world that you could be in until you get into the place where the chunk of the story takes place, and yeah, you feel like you could just be in there. And like I said, I really like the suspense, and I like how he writes, and I like how things turned out. So I really like The Shining, another good book. And then this particular comic book that I checked out, it's Batman Detective Comics. It says Volume 5, Gothopia. But there were a couple different storylines in this one, and it didn't really feel like I needed to have read any of the previous volumes to jump into this one. I felt comfortable checking it out because, you know, I'm already pretty familiar with Batman. Grew up watching Batman cartoons. I've watched plenty of Batman movies, so a comic like this felt like I could just kind of jump into it. And originally I thought it was going to be like one consistent story throughout the whole book, based on like the summary on the back page. But that was only one of the main stories. There were a couple other ones. And I feel like there were a couple different artists or storytellers that wrote some of the stories, and I kind of enjoyed seeing some of the slightly different artwork. But yeah, I actually do enjoy reading comics. I used to read a bunch of Japanese manga. And one thing I like about comics is not only reading the storyline, but also getting to see the animation, or the drawings rather, on the page. So, two things I read this week: The Shining, and then an issue of some Batman comics. Both awesome, both from the library, which means I got to read those things for free. So that's all for today, and I'll be back next week, I hope. Bye.